Mr. President,
we're going to hear from the Israelis now.
I stand before you tall and proud because I represent the world's one and only Jewish state. A state built in the Jewish people's ancient homeland with its eternal capital, Jerusalem, as its beating heart. We are a nation with deep roots in the past and bright hopes for the future. We are a nation that values idealism but acts with pragmatism. Israel is a nation that never hesitates to defend itself, but will always, always extend its hand for peace. Peace is a central value of Israel's society. The Bible calls on us and says, Bakesh shalom uradfeu, seek peace and pursue it. Peace fills our art and poetry. It is taught in our schools. It has been the goal of the Israeli people and every Israeli leader since Israel was re-established 64 years ago. Israel's Declaration of Independence states, and I quote, "We extend our hand to all neighboring states and their peoples in an offer of peace and good neighborliness, and appeal to them to establish bonds of cooperation and mutual help." This week was the 35th anniversary of President Anwar Sadat's historic visit to Jerusalem. In a speech just before the visit, President Sadat famously stood in the Egyptian parliament in Cairo and stated that he would go, and I quote, "to the ends of the earth to make peace with Israel." Israel's Prime Minister at that time, Menachem Begin, welcomed President Sadat to Israel and paved the way for peace. This morning, Prime Minister Netanyahu stood at Menachem Begin's center and said this about the resolution that you are about to vote on. He said Israel is prepared to live in peace with the Palestinian state, but for peace to endure, Israel's security must be protected. The Palestinians must recognize the Jewish state, and they must be prepared to end the conflict with Israel once and for all. None of these vital interests of peace, none of them appear in the resolution that will be put forward before the General Assembly today, and that is why Israel cannot accept it. The only way to achieve peace is through agreements that are reached by the parties and not through the UN resolutions that completely ignore Israel's vital security and national interests. And because this resolution is so one-sided, it doesn't advance peace, it pursues it and pushes it backwards. As for the rights of the Jewish people in this land, I have a simple message for those people gathered in the General Assembly today. No decision by the UN can break the 4,000-year-old bond between the people of Israel and the land of Israel. Mr. President, the people of Israel wait for a Palestinian leader that is willing to follow in the path of President Sadat. The world awaits for President Abbas to speak the truth about peace that can only be achieved through the negotiations by recognizing Israel as a Jewish state. It waits for him to tell them that peace must also address Israel's security needs and end the conflict once and for all. For as long as President Abbas prefers symbolism over reality, as long as he prefers to travel to New York for UN resolutions rather than travel to Jerusalem for genuine dialogue, any hope of peace will be out of reach. Mr. President, Israel has always extended its hand in peace and will always extend its hands for peace.